Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where last episode we got a good amount of payment, and I would like to deploy again basically right away. I believe we need to do training though, and yes, that is indeed true. So Brick can get a point of piloting, that is okay. What else do we need here?
Waiting on you.
A whole bunch of nothing thus far. Okay, well that's absolutely fine. That is actually it. So let's hop into the command center, and what do we want to run? Well, I'd like to do something that would make us a decent amount of money. This is a travel contract. Let's not do a travel contract for under $1 million. Thank you very much. So this is going to be a capture base mission. Who is this against? Steiner? We could definitely do this. Forward of Blake. No free priority salvage, but we could run it right about here. Make about another 2 million. This is proving to be a very profitable month thus far. If we can get this base captured quickly with little damage taken, this is going to be incredible. Let's accept this and we'll see what happens. So we're going to want to restore our standard layout. There we go. To pilot Nidhogg gunship, Capo should have vehicles expertise. Yeah, we don't want him piloting that. We want Romeo in the Nidhogg, which is... I guess we need to load this clear and then load the standard. That's awkward. Okay, this didn't actually save properly. Okay, well, we can do this. So we need the Epimetheus. The Epimetheus is, I believe, piloted by Brick. Yes. Then we need the Marauder, which should be hard case. Let's see here. Plato in the Grasshopper is correct, and Clist in the Archer is correct. The Rifleman is, I believe, piloted by Gorgon. Yes. And then the Black Knight is piloted by Capo. Yes. It's a little bit awkward that the layout didn't actually save, but whatever. So that is fine. Next, we need to get our Marksman SPG, which should be, I believe, piloted by Rook. Yes. The Devastator and the Demolisher, which are kind of interchangeable in their affinities. So we're going to put GV in the Devastator and then Jammer in the Demolisher, which both of these come as... right? Both of them? Yeah, both of them come as Demolisher affinities. It's kind of strange, but whatever. So these are taking up mech slots, and that, of course, means that they need to be out over here. Like that. And then this is a vehicle slot, so that is the Nidhogg with Romeo. And then this is going to be the Crossbow, which should be piloted by Weasel Cakes. And then the Crossbow X, which is piloted by Magus, like this. And then we have these two backup mech warriors. This is our standard loadout. So let's try this again. And hopefully it saves properly this time. Because that was very awkward. So we'll deploy this, and I'll see you guys after the loading screen. Okay, so here we are, all loaded up, and let's see what we've got here. So I'm kind of expecting there to be some pretty heavy resistance here. There's going to be turrets, there's going to possibly be heavy bombers, but we'll see. It is very dark. Okay, it's very hard to see, but hopefully once the map updates, it'll be a little bit easier to see. I understand that this is probably very, very hard to see on YouTube. So for now, we're going to drop right up over here. This is going to give us, I think, a reasonable overview of the base. Yeah, actually, this is a good spot. So we're going to drop right up over here, as close as we can, and hopefully, once the map updates, it'll be a little bit more visible. That's the idea. Okay, so the enemy is turning, or having their turn right now. We're not going to get to update the map for a moment. Wow, I can't even see anything out over here. This is just black. It's very dark, but the map will update shortly. We just exited combat? Okay, that updated the map somewhat. Oh my, that is an Ifrit, that is an Ifrit, and a Hollander 2. That's a heavy Calliope, heavy mortar turret, hardened LRM emplacement, a Stalker, and a hardened UAC emplacement. So these Ifrits are going to do a lot of damage to us. Okay, we're out of combat right now. Here's what I'm thinking. We need to take out these Ifrits, and quickly. So we position our Archer somewhere around here, where it doesn't have LOS on the base. This is going to be a Black Knight, and it's still very dark. No doubt about that. The Black Knight is going to go out over here. We want to not be clustered together.
Hey there.
So the crossbow is going to head up over this direction.
Coordinates received.
Be in cover and braced. So this Ifrit closes in. Noted. It has 11 evasive for the time being.
How can I help?
Our crossbow X is going to move somewhere out over this way. And brace. Okay, the second Ifrit is going to move. I realize it's very dark right now. We might be able to turn up the gamma and make it a little bit easier to see. Something along the lines of that. And it's going to make things look kind of wild, but yeah, this is definitely easier to see. Okay, so that is fine. Things definitely don't look quite right. They're a little washed out, but that is not shocking. I'm going to put our Marksman SPG down over here for now. This Ifrit is basically right on top of us. Okay, that Hollander 2 is closing in a bit.
Commander?
The Grasshopper, I want to put somewhere out over this way, I feel like. Like, we're only going to be able to spread out so much, right?
Orders.
The Marauder is going to head up over this way and cover and brace.
Moving to position.
Okay.
Good to go.
The Rifleman is going to head down this direction and
way.
cover and brace. Then the Nidhogg, I want to send out this direction, kind of as a bit of bait. And yes, the base is heavily defended. There are more engine signatures coming. Yep, turrets. We're aware of that.
Secure the area, Commander.
That's all
I'm
fine.
Still seeing hostile contacts on screen.
Okay, so we're not going to secure the area just yet. This Stalker is the target for the Nidhogg. So that'll go away pretty easily. Next up is our Jerry-Rig Demolisher. Let's start accelerating that out this direction. There we go. And then the Epimetheus, I'm going to position out over, I'm thinking about here or so. We can't get these as spread out as I'd like. That's for sure. I'm going to put the Epiprime about there. And then the Devastator is going to sprint its way up over here for now.
Let's move.
It only gets the 4 evasive, but that's what we've got. Okay, so spawn protection has been removed now. Phase 21 is going to be this Ifrit. Phase 20, this Ifrit. So we're about to take a walloping. The question is, where? Right? And how bad does it get? It's going to get bad. If they choose to fire with their Ifrits. They move in with this one, and this is going to be painful. Who are they going for? Any moment now. You can do it. The Jerry-Rig Demolisher. Okay. That might get blown up here. Mines and fires out over here.
Reporting. Major armor
That's
lost.
not as bad as it
Not
might have
much
been.
armor left.
Now, this Jerry-Rig Demolisher is definitely low on armor. No doubt about that. They have a Phase 21 mover out there, and who's that going to be? This Hollander? Yeah, it's the Hollander. Hollander fires at our Devastator, gets a through armor right side track crit. Okay. The vehicles aren't that big of a concern right now. Phase 20 is the second Nidhogg. That's probably also going to go for this Jerry-Rig Demolisher, and it's probably going to go away. Jammer might die, or, potentially, the vehicle might be fully destroyed. We'll see what happens with that, but there's absolutely nothing we can do about this at this time. This Ifrit backs off. That doesn't feel like an aggressive move. It is going for the Jerry-Rig Demolisher, and it does destroy. Okay, so that's not shocking. Pilot incapacitated. He may or may not be dead, but there's absolutely nothing we could do about that. This is saying he's dead. He may have survived. There's a small chance, but it's unlikely. Jammer is probably actually dead. With these heavy bombers, that's just the way it is, right? There's very, very, very little we can do about that. And that's one frustration that I have with this current version of the game, is that heavy bombers do a lot of damage. They move very early, and there's not much you can do about them, to be honest. Now, I'm going to position the crossbow here. I mean, there are things you can do about them that we aren't, to be clear. But I'm going to position the crossbow here, and we're going to fire on this Ifrit. My opinion on it, though, is just that heavy bombers are a little bit too common. They shouldn't be as common as they are, in my opinion. So we're going to fire on this Ifrit. We're not going to get very many hits on it, but that's fine. We're just looking to soften it up a little bit and trigger its AMS. That seems okay for now. Now, there is a phase 19 mover out here. I don't know what that is, but it sensor locked our crossbow X. And also fired on our Nidhogg. That's fine. I'm not too concerned about that one. So losing the jerry-rig demolisher is not the end of the world. That's definitely true. We can position the crossbow here. It's not quite ideal range on this Ifrit, right? We would prefer to be slightly further back. We could position it here. This would be in the fire. It's not ideal, but we'll position it there for now. And we'll fire on this Ifrit with slightly higher hit odds.
Let's do this.
Okay, so let's see what we get done here. We're triggering the AMS, but more importantly, we're continuing to chip down that frontal armor. The frontal armor on this Ifrit is starting to get kind of low.
I'm receiving you.
The grasshopper is going to move up over here. I want to continue to focus on this Ifrit. Hit odds are low, but we'll give it a go. I have it. Okay. Couple of lasers hitting there is useful. Next up is our archer. The archer is going to fire on that Ifrit, stepping back a little bit. Artemis ammo. Artemis is going... It has got that dead zone there. I don't know about firing Artemis on this Ifrit. We may want to instead fire it on this Hollander too. I don't know what those hit odds are looking like. Let's put it here and find out.
Moving out.
Okay, so if we fire here, 16.9 versus 61.8 on that Hollander 2, this is actually going to do a lot of damage to the Hollander. So let's see about taking that guy out, or at least doing a ton of damage to him.
When I shoot you, you'll take it and like it.
And that seems good. Next up is our Marauder. I want to put the Marauder right about... This is a pretty good position here, I feel like. We do have LOS on that hardened LRM emplacement, which is slightly painful. But this is ideal range on that Ifrit. We can fire on that or on the Hollander in that same side arc. What are the hit odds here? 19.3, so this is probably not worth firing. I think we're better off firing on the Ifrit. Yeah, hit odds are higher here. So light him up. Good armor damage on that Ifrit. I like it. So that looks solid. Next up is our rifleman. I'm going to step the rifleman out of this fire, although it spread the fire with the landmines. Not ideal there. We can fire on the Ifrit. We can fire on this Hollander. Hit odds are low any way we slice it. I'm going to pot shot at this Ifrit.
Giving them everything I've got.
Okay, we did hit one ERPPC there. It's getting pretty low on its armor. I like it.
Will be done.
The Black Knight is going to step up over here-ish. Yeah, I don't mind this position. We can definitely fire on the Ifrit there, 30% hit odds. Also on the Hollander, 30% hit odds. So I'm going to fire on the Ifrit here. And I'm going to fire in X2 binary laser. Sad that we didn't hit either of those, but it's not shocking necessarily. So next up is going to be our Nidhogg. Our Nidhogg is going to make its way out over this direction. We don't get rear arc on that Stalker. We could start to work on taking out some of these guns out over here, but I'm not going to. We're just going to position it here.
Roger that.
And I'm going to fire on the Stalker with the snub-nose PPC,
Roger that. Target confirmed.
with the goal being to scramble its ECM jamming a little bit.
Commander.
Next up is the Devastator, and the Devastator doesn't move very far out over here. I'm just going to position it
Move
about
order
here,
received.
and we're going to continue to fire on that Ifrit. Are we better off firing in precision mode? Absolutely we are. Do it.
Affirmative.
Structure exposure, destroying an AMS
Board
flare
critical
there.
hit.
Okay. It's not shot down, though.
Standing
So
by.
next up would be our Epi Prime. Now, the Epi Prime's heat is already very high from its
Coordinates
positioning,
received.
which is not necessarily ideal. And that, of course, means that these medium lasers are a no-go. Everything else here we'll crit fish with. Maybe not the light AC-20.
I'm on it.
Okay, we didn't get any crits there. That's sad. We only had a couple of armor hits, but that's okay. Next
What's
up
up,
is our
Bob?
Marksman SPG, and in flak mode, we're going to fire that on this Ifrit. We're just looking to chunk down his armor
Firing
a little bit.
salvo.
Nice hit on that. Cool. So next up are these turrets. Most of those turrets can't fire, although that one is firing indirect on our Devastator. Noted. The jerry-rig demolisher was always
Lots of
kind
armor.
of mediocre for its weight as well, I want to point out. So, okay, these mortars are dropping in right over here. That's a lot of incendiary ammo that they're running. Okay,
A tickle.
it's a whole lot of incendiary ammo. So AMS doing some work here. I like it.
Armor holding.
Yep. Firing on the Nidhogg there.
Reporting. Heavy damage.
No, that was no damage. I don't know what you're talking about. None of that actually hit. So the Stalker moves and positions there, going for the Nidhogg. All of it gets AMS'd. Beautiful. So that's looking good. Next up, they get to move one of their Nidhoggs. And that's, or rather, one of their Ifrits. That's this one. Now, he has burned a lot of his ammo, but by no means is he worthless at this point. Unfortunately for us, this is phase 18, but we can only move our crossbow. Well, actually, our crossbow X can probably do something about this Ifrit, now that I look at it. So this guy moves in aggressively. Going for our crossbow there, firing what looks like tandem
My internals are
rockets.
taking a beat.
So that was internal damage, but they didn't get any crits out of it. And the armor is still in reasonable shape. So that looks good. Next up is a phase 20 mover, likely to be this Hollander. Now that Hollander did take a lot of damage last round. He moves in a little bit, and he's probably going to fire his Gauss. Yep, right at that Epimetheus. Okay. No problem there.
Oh, they don't like
Okay,
me at all.
so next up is our Crossbow X. I'm going to take the Crossbow X out of this fire. We're going to fire on this Ifrit, and we're going to do what we can to hopefully take him down by taking out that area. We
Roger
need
that.
2 or 3 missiles into it. That looked like that did it. Beautiful. So -1 heavy bomber.
Waste.
Fantastic.
Cuts his heat.
Next up is our Archer. The Archer is just sitting here for now, and I'm going to leave it there. We're going to continue to fire on this Hollander. This is on his weak side, and that's also the side where his Gauss rifle is. So this Hollander is pretty dead.
Got it.
There's very little that's going to end up happening here.
We can
A
do
Gauss
this.
rifle
Let's
explosion? Okay.
There's more where that came from.
So this Hollander has very little left at this point. That seems good.
Standing
Next
by.
up is our Rifleman. I'd like to get it out of the fire, but that's not super
Got it.
possible. We're going to pot shot at this Ifrit. I don't expect too much out of that. Yeah, heat's really high. So we're going to do something like this. We did manage to hit it with one of those ERPPCs. That was only a 15% chance. So we'll definitely take that. Next up
Receiving you.
is our Nidhogg. And the Nidhogg is going to move into the rear arc of this Stalker. It's not...
Understood.
Oh,
Moving fast.
we got fooled again. It's not turned enough. When it's right on the edge there, it tells us that it'll be good, but it isn't. Oof. So we'll have to wait until next round for that. That sucks. It's not the end of the world, but it is sad. So we're going to position about here, probably firing on that Hollander, to be honest. These hit odds are very low on this Ifrit. And I'm wondering... Okay, 11 evasive, that is a lot of evasive. And from Burning Forest, doesn't help. Like I said, they're running a lot of incendiary rounds. Okay, so that's some additional damage out to that Hollander anyway.
I'm starting to cook.
Next up is our Black Knight. The Black Knight can advance up over here. We're point blank on this Ifrit. We can also fire on that Hollander, though, and that's probably going to be the goal here. That was a lot of damage to it. And there we go. The Hollander is gone. Fantastic. Next up is our Epi Prime, and that is almost certainly going to move up over here. There's a lot of heat out here. We're aware of that. And we're just going to maybe not fire anything. Let's just brace the Epi Prime. Okay, next up is our crossbow. And the crossbow is going to step back over here. I want to fire on this Ifrit using SAM missiles. Hit odds aren't great, but let's soften him up. He AMS'd most of those. I mean, we missed most of them, but he AMS'd a lot of them.
Daniel.
Next up would be our Grasshopper. I don't love these positions, but let's position it
going.
here, taking a look at that, but we're almost certainly going to attack this hardened LRM emplacement instead. 29.8 is not that much better, and we get a lot more rolls here.
Roger that.
Okay. We at least triggered the AMS on the Ifrit. So that's fine for now. Next up is going to be our SPG. Now, that absolutely wants to position up over here. I'm going to fire the flak gun here. This is going to splash damage us, but I really want to shoot down this Ifrit ASAP.
Here it comes.
Oh, we straight up missed the flak gun. That's very rare. Okay.
Reporting negative damage.
Well, no damage dealt there, and I guess that's
I'm
fine.
receiving you.
So the Devastator is going to position out over this way. We want to protect its left side? No, its right side. And this is absolutely okay.
Moving
So
to
we'll position
position.
it there. And let's attack this Ifrit with whatever we can. We're going to roll these precision AC-20s and hope to take it down. But we didn't. We did a little bit of damage into its side arc, but not a whole lot. So they're firing on that Devastator. They only got a couple of hits there. And that's, of course, one of their
Can't take
turrets
much
firing
more.
there. Mortars on the Grasshopper. Once again, they're running those incendiary rounds.
System, get
Reporting. Minimal damage.
Okay, they're trying to hit our Nidhogg, and it's not going well for them. And the Marauder. Cool. So we're definitely taking more damage than I had hoped, but the moment we saw two Ifrits,
Neck warriors.
we
It's go
definitely
time.
knew, right? We knew what was up at that point. Unfortunately, the Ifrit rolled up a phase 29 here. We'll see how it moves. Hopefully it gives us a better shot than 11 evasive. It's backing off a little bit. And going for our Nidhogg. It's firing those tandem rounds again. Okay. That's fine. I don't mind that. So that's only 8 evasive. That is definitely a better shot.
Talk to me.
So the crossbow can position out over here. We can exit that fire, and we now have a 43% hit chance on this Ifrit. Heat is high. I'm not going to fire the medium lasers,
Target confirmed.
but we'll trigger that AMS, and that's a structure exposure.
Follow my lead.
Beautiful. Structure exposure in the turret, though. That's a little harder to hit. So for
Good to
now,
go.
our archer can position out over here-ish. Now, these are all kind of terrible. This is going to be in minimum range. There isn't much we can do about that. I'm going to fire this just to trigger the AMS.
This should be good.
We did get a laser hit in there, as well as a couple of missile
Let's
hits.
get fired up.
So
There's
we'll take
work
that.
to do.
That sounds good. Once these Ifrits are gone, we're going to move in and make some very quick work of them. Firing on the rifleman there, I really don't care about that.
Careful. You don't want to scratch the.
Cool.
I live
So
to
next
serve.
up is the Black Knight. The Black Knight's going to move up over
Onward.
here. Yeah, we're in range of these turrets. I'm aware of that. But I'm thinking we're continuing to focus fire on this Ifrit. It's got low armor over here. Very low armor.
Firing all weapons.
That was some internal damage
Someone let
there.
me borrow their
Engine
pom-poms
and
shirt,
VTOL
'cause I'm
propulsion
damn
crit.
excited now.
Beautiful.
Commander.
Next up is the Rifleman. The Rifleman is going to be firing from the fire here, but let's see what we've got. Light him up.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. So the Ifrit is out of here.
Hostile
Fantastic. So that's 75% of defenders.
Over the red line.
So we've
Damage.
got this Stalker over here still.
Yeah.
That's going to cease to exist very shortly. I'm going to move our Epi Prime up over here, and the Heavy Calliope is the only thing that we can actually fire at from here. So we're going to try to soften it up a bit, but we don't have much for visuals here. It's a little out of range. We'll just get a little damage onto that Calliope.
Waiting for orders.
Next up is our Grasshopper, which is going to advance up over here. It's not a fantastic position, but we'll take it. And a 30% chance.
Rat.
And we actually hit that 30% chance, so that's great.
Ready.
Next up would be our crossbow, which is going to be somewhere out over here.
On it.
And let's just continue to soften this up. We're not going to fire this in SAM mode. I'm thinking ER here. Yep, do it. Okay, so good damage on that hardened LRM emplacement.
Commander.
Next up, of course, is our Nidhogg, which is going to position right here,
Heading out.
hit the rear arc of that Stalker. I'm not going to fire the bomb here. I'm going to do a guided bomb. I'm not doing the Daisy Cutter. We're going to use a weapons bay weapon, and I'm going to use the heavy RL-10s. This is very low amounts of armor. I suspect that we can kill it like this and save ammo because I think there's going to be another lance. We'll find out.
Locked on rear armor.
That was really close.
Reporting. Critical hit. I am out.
How much
of
armor does, or how much
short-range
health does this guy have? Very, very little. Okay, that's fine. We have a target for our artillery now. So the Marauder is going to step up
Moving out.
over here, and we're absolutely firing on this hardened LRM emplacement. Good damage there, but that thing does have a lot of armor. And we're not really in an ideal position to fire on it. Now, we're going to fire on the Stalker. We're hoping that this drops in behind the
Target
Stalker.
confirmed.
It did not. It dropped in front of the Stalker. So that's not really ideal. We'll do a little bit of damage to our Marauder. That's fine.
Light damage, Commander.
Okay, they're firing mortars at the marksman. That's not really going to do much. Yeah, that's quite irrelevant, to be honest.
Commander?
So next up would be our Devastator, which can position up over
Location
here. I'm going to
confirmed.
fire on the hardened here. I'm going to fire standard AC-20s. This could kill it,
Roger that.
but it didn't. That's fine.
It's on now.
So the hardened LRM emplacement is going to get to move now, and it's firing on our Black Knight. Okay, it's doing some damage there. Injury resisted. Okay,
Taking
that's good.
Heavy hits, Commander.
Ow.
Now I'm taking it good.
Okay, so that heavy UAC
Heads up, Commander.
needs to go.
You've got hostile contacts inbound.
And hostile contacts up over there. That's reasonably
attention.
fine. So the Crossbow X needs to start making its way out of here. It's running too hot. There's a ton of
Moving
fire over here. It doesn't have the ability to get to anything.
Waiting for orders.
The Archer, on the other hand, does. And we can put the Archer here. What do we have up over here? We should find that out. I see an Avatar and a Jaeger. That's not too scary. This hardened UAC emplacement has got to go. Dual UAC 20s is a lot of damage.
Time
Let's
to
get rid of this
die.
hardened LRM emplacement right now.
We can do this. Let's go.
There we go.
Target destroyed.
Okay, and next up is going to be our Rifleman. The Rifleman's running too hot,
On my
doesn't
way.
have LOS on anything. Okay, so phase 22, this is somebody out over here that we don't know about. Okay, that seems fine.
Let's do this.
The Nidhogg could work on finishing off the Stalker, and I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to fire... I'm thinking about maybe firing... Yeah, the bomb here is okay. I'm not going to fire the AoE Rocket 10. We're just going to do this. And it's gone. Beautiful. Okay, so the Stalker is out of here. Now they have those reinforcements, and we've got the base turrets. Cool. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to wrap this up. This hardened UAC emplacement really, really needs to be our priority target. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kintogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.